They said it was all in the name of science. But behind closed doors, far from the public eye, some experiments crossed the line between discovery and darkness. This is not science fiction. These are real stories, hidden, silenced, and almost erased from history. Tonight, we're opening the files they tried to bury. Here are 7 human experiments that were never supposed to be known. 1. The Stanford Prison Experiment, 1971, USA. It began as a simple psychological test, but it ended as a window into the darkest corners of human behavior. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo at Stanford University decided to explore what happens when ordinary people are given power, and others are stripped of it. Volunteers were randomly assigned as guards, or prisoners, inside a simulated prison in the basement of the university. At first, it seemed harmless, but within hours, the transformation began. The guards started acting dominant. The prisoners became submissive. By the second day, emotional breakdowns, rebellion, and real fear took over. The test, which was meant to last 2 weeks, was stopped after just 6 days, not because of physical harm, but because of the terrifying psychological collapse that unfolded. Zimbardo's conclusion was simple: power can corrupt faster than we imagine. And the thin line between control and cruelty may exist in all of us. 2. MK Ultra, 1953-1973, CIA, USA. In the 1950s, during the height of the Cold War, the US government launched a classified project under the name MK Ultra. Its goal, to understand how the human mind could be influenced, or even controlled. Researchers explored hypnosis, sensory manipulation, and certain chemical substances in an attempt to reprogram behavior. While much of it remains classified, declassified documents show that the program reached dozens of institutions, from hospitals to universities. Officially, MK Ultra was shut down in the 1970s after a congressional investigation. But to this day, no one truly knows how far it went. It left behind a chilling question. How much control do we really have over our own thoughts, if someone learns how to rewrite them? 3. Unit 731, 1936-1945, Japan. During the Second World War, a special research unit was formed under the Japanese Imperial Army, known only as Unit 731. Officially, it was labeled a Disease Prevention and Water Purification Department. In reality, it was a hidden complex dedicated to studying the limits of the human body. Researchers documented data on temperature resistance, endurance, and the spread of illness. Their findings, though scientifically valuable, came at a moral cost that history will never forget. After the war, many of the records vanished. Some of the scientists were quietly granted immunity in exchange for sharing their data with foreign governments. The result? Most of what truly happened inside Unit 731 will never be known, but the legacy remains as one of the most haunting chapters in the history of science, a reminder that knowledge without ethics becomes a weapon. 4. The Monster Study, 1939, Iowa, USA. In 1939, a speech researcher named Wendell Johnson wanted to understand how negative feedback affects children's confidence. To test it, he worked with 22 orphaned children, dividing them into 2 groups. One group was praised for their clear speech. The other group was told they were speaking poorly, even if they weren't. Over time, the children who were constantly criticized began to stutter. Their anxiety grew, and many never recovered their natural speech patterns. It became known years later as the Monster Study, not because of the participants, but because of the method. Today, the experiment is studied as a crucial lesson in psychology. That words, especially those spoken to children, can shape minds as powerfully as any scientific instrument. 4 experiments, 4 attempts to explore the human mind, and yet, each one reveals something deeper than science. The potential for darkness doesn't always come from the tools we build. It often comes from the questions we're willing to ask. And in the next part, we'll uncover 3 more experiments, the ones that blurred the line between biology, identity, and control, including one that might still be happening today. 5. The Aversion Project, 1970s South Africa. In the 1970s, during the height of political tension in South Africa, a secret military medical program began. Its purpose wasn't to cure disease or study biology. It was to correct behavior. Known as the Aversion Project, this operation targeted soldiers who didn't fit into the strict military ideology of the time. They were subjected to conditioning methods designed to suppress or rewrite their identity. When the truth came out decades later, it shocked the world. The goal wasn't progress, it was conformity. And it raised a question still relevant today. When society tries to change people for being different, who truly needs the correction? 6. The sleep deprivation experiments, various 20th century. Throughout the 20th century, scientists around the world became obsessed with one question: how long can a human survive without sleep? Universities, military departments, and private researchers began conducting long-term wakefulness studies. Subjects stayed awake for days, then weeks, monitored for memory loss, hallucinations, and emotional breakdowns. Most of the records were lost or destroyed, not because of any dark cover-up, but because the results were too disturbing to replicate. The conclusion was clear. When we take away sleep, the mind begins to rewrite reality itself. Modern neuroscience now knows that sleep isn't just rest, it's maintenance for consciousness. Without it, the brain starts to dream while awake. 7. The Hybridization Trials, ongoing speculations. This final story isn't about confirmed science, but about what might still be happening. Across various countries, declassified documents have hinted at research into human-animal cellular fusion. Not for creating creatures, but for studying organ compatibility, immunity, and longevity. Scientists have successfully grown partial organs using mixed DNA sequences in controlled environments. Ethical debates rage across the world. If we merge human and animal biology, even at the smallest level, where do we draw the line? Some argue this is the next step in evolution. Others say it's the moment we stop being human. Every experiment starts with curiosity. But sometimes, curiosity doesn't ask if it should, only if it can. The scientists behind these projects weren't monsters. They were people chasing answers. But somewhere along the way, the pursuit of knowledge outgrew its conscience. And maybe that's the real experiment still running today. Not in the lab, but inside us. If you made it this far, you're not just curious, you're searching. Searching for the truth behind the stories the world forgot to tell. So if you want to keep going deeper into the mysteries science tried to hide, hit that subscribe button. Because the next video might just reveal something even stranger. And remember, the most dangerous experiments are the ones still waiting to happen.